Noon heat presses the camp flat. Tents strain poles ticking like metronomes. I walk the waterline with Eliezer counting skins and faces. Leadership feels like swallowing dust and calling it bread. The map says Detour. Grief says exile. The road does not shorten when you stare at it. Mana scatters like frost at dawn. We collect in baskets, hands, quick eyes, slower. Someone laughs. Breakfast of nothing. The word lands harder than intended. I chew and remember sweetness. They chew and remember onions. Nostalgia edits the past like a flattering mirror. By midday, the jokes find their chorus. Complaints move quicker than camels. Rumor breeds under shade. Egypt had spices. Egypt had variety. Egypt had chains. I breathe through my nose and measure my answer before it escapes and wounds someone already bleeding. Shoshana arrives with a runner's breath. Splints cord more hands at the well. People are snapping, she says. We reroute. Line swap teams kneel with a young father, learning to hold a screaming newborn. Logistics is love wearing work clothes. It rarely trends. Night cools the canvas. I sit with my staff laid across my knees. Stars are the only things not tired of holding their place. I pray, short honest prayers, the kind that do not need perfect grammar to be heard. Morning brings the same road and different eyes. A boy kicks manna before stooping to gather it. A man mocks the taste while eating. I feel the ache of wanting to defend the gift instead of the giver. Old habits sharpen like knives in a hungry hand. Eliezer reads the air the way hunters read tracks. Tension, he says quietly. He's right. The laughter has a new edge, humor as a blade. I wave a pair of quarrelers apart, hearing my own voice thin. Even a shepherd grows hoarse. A gust peels a sheet of sand from the ridge. The movement is too smooth. I stop mid-sentence. The desert looks alive like a sheet shaken by an unseen hand. People turn because fear has a sound. The first scream cuts the camp in half. Then another. The line of the dune ripples becomes many lines. The sand is moving because something is moving in it. The word snake arrives without my permission. I'm already running toward the noise staff, tapping stone, breath tight. Shoshana matches my stride. Children, she says, which is a sentence and a plea. In the corner of my eye, a shape uncoils copper against gold, quicker than thought. The world narrows to steps, to shouts, to the shape of a mouth, forming a prayer and finding only air. The desert has chosen to speak in a language we do not want to understand. Sand peels like skin from the ridge, revealing coils that move faster than thought. A scream punctures the morning. Tents shudder as if they can feel pain. I run because running is a prayer a body understands. Staff breath distance countable things inside the uncountable. A child lies half-curled, ankle swelling around two tidy wounds. Her mother's words tangle. I anchor a cloth, elevate the leg, meet the girl's eyes. Stay with me. Prayer becomes a steadying of breath in and out, as if borrowing time from the desert. Serpents pour through seams in the camp, like ink into paper fibers. Men swing sticks, the air splinters strikes land on sand. The snakes are patient, choosing panic over pursuit. I hate that wisdom can belong to a mouthful of venom. Heat the blade, stop short of foolishness, Eliezer calls. He builds an order from verbs tie, lift watch talk. We form a line that pretends to be a hospital. Shoshana threads between bodies with water skins and names. Names matter. They keep a person from becoming a statistic. A man stumbles in, bitten on the palm, eyes wild. "Is this your god?" he hisses. I hold his gaze like a rope. "Breathe with me." He obeys out of anger, which will serve for now. His pulse slows enough to hear his son crying behind him. We cool foreheads with damp cloths that smell like goat hair and smoke. A teenage boy jokes poorly, then apologizes for the joke, and for everything else. I remember the morning's laughter at Mana, and feel the circle close. We are not punished by bread. We are saved by it. A father promises murder to the horizon. I nod, because vows can hold a man up when nothing else does. We need anger to lift, then set it down. Shoshana presses a bundle into his hands. Pressure bandage instructions. Hope that sounds like work. The sun keeps climbing, though no one asked it to. Venom paints nerves with fire. Our people call it that because metaphor is how humans survive. I imagine machines and monitors bright rooms far from this day, and realize triage is older than electricity. A boy dies while naming his sister. Grief arrives in a posture, not a sentence. I hold the father's shoulders until his fury becomes weight, and weight can be shared. Eliezer looks away, because leadership must sometimes give privacy to the breaking. Evening bends the heat into bearable angles. The dune is quiet, the camp not. I step outside the noise and put my voice where it can be heard against the sky. Mercy is not a strategy, it is a person. I ask, and then I listen. Blue night breathing canvas. Elders wait at the entrance, shoulders lowered, eyes salt bright. No bargaining, no nostalgia for Egypt. We were wrong. An older man says, voice like a cracked bowl. Ask him. Confession isn't eloquent, it's heavy and true. I open the flap and let it in. Inside one lamp by the ground, paints our faces upward. Shoshana arranges linen salve-water like a quiet liturgy, then is gone again. The tent smells of smoke and wool. I kneel with the staff across my knees and feel every year settle on my spine. I speak the names of the dead not to count, but to carry. Each name is a stone in a riverbed making a way for others to cross. Intercession isn't a speech. It's a rope thrown into dark water hoping a hand finds it. I ask for mercy, the way a father asks a surgeon, urgent, unadorned. My words are not pious. They have teeth. They are yours, I say. We are yours. Remember us according to yourself, not our competence. Outside, someone laughs at a bad joke. Living insists on itself. Silence presses back, but gently like a palm on a fevered forehead. I stop explaining, stop justifying. Breathe. The tent seams tick as wind works them. Somewhere a clay cup knocks and settles. Listening is an obedience I'm still learning at 80. A shape of instruction forms in the quiet. Not offense, not fire from heaven. A pattern almost insulting in its simplicity, craft a serpent of bronze lifted on a pole, let bitten people look and live. The words arrive like a path appearing underfoot. I flinch at the symbol. A serpent for healing, the same shape that harms now hoisted to help. My mind reaches for rules about images and stumbles on a better rule, use signs to point, never to replace. Repentance is a gaze before it is a vow. I test the word against my fear of future idolatry. I see a day when someone names the bronze, polishes, it forgets the giver. The weight returns, warning braided with trust. The remedy includes risk, like any good thing mishandled. I rise, joints complaining like old friends telling the truth. The lamp shakes in my hand. Perhaps it's only me. Outside, torchlight stitches a trembling seam through the camp. I can already hear hammers that haven't started. Faith often sounds like preparation. At the flap, Eliezer waits, reading my face before I speak. Wake the smiths, I say, voice hoarse. We're going to make a sign. He does not ask which. He only nods because obedience is faster than curiosity when lives are at stake. Gray dawn rims the ridge. Eliezer and I scratch a circle in the sand where the pole will live. Smiths arrive without speeches, only tools. The square holds yesterday's footprints like a negative of our fear, high enough to be seen, I say. Heads nod, hearts hold their breath. We choose the center line by walking camp lanes and counting steps. Eliezer marks sight angles with small cairns. I pace the far tents. Even here the circle is visible. A sign that cannot be seen is a private comfort. This must be public. An acacia trunk lies beside the pit, straight, seasoned light for its strength. We test balance shift hands, argue about height, settle on what wind will tolerate. Guy ropes will run to 3 stakes. Not idle height, Eliezer murmurs. Signal height, I answer. Smiths kneel, palms mapping coils in air. Hollow bronze single loop lifted head, I say. weight-centered mouth not striking. A young smith asks, "Show teeth," I shake my head. Name the wound without feeding the fear. He smiles, relieved to shape help and not horror. Shoshana drills runners, lay mat count, tilt toward the center. "Bring the eyes if the legs won't come," she says, voice carrying steadier than mine. We practice with a boy, pretending weakness. His sister whispers, "Look up until the words feel natural in her mouth." Scrap bronze clatters into baskets, buckles bent, awls a cracked hinge. People who mocked breakfast bring metal like tithe. Repentance has a sound. It is generous and a little embarrassed. The smiths weigh pieces already tasting the heat that will make them one. Skeptics hover at the rope line. If looking heals who needs prayer, one asks. I press my thumb into sand until it makes a well. Prayer is the well. Looking is drawing water. The water is his. The man nods like someone remembering where the door is. Herald phrases get shorter until they fit breath. Don't stare at the wound. Lift your eyes. We test the shout. The words ring through alleys of tents. A mother loosens her grip on a bandage. The reflex begins to learn a new path. We set the stone cradle for the pole's foot, tamping earth with flat rocks until it sings a solid note. I run my palm along acacia grain. This tree drank slow years into itself. It will spend that strength today. Before the hammers wake, I step back. The square is a diagram of obedience circle ropes, cairns, sightlines, runners, practicing a choreography of rescue. It doesn't look magical. It looks clear. Clarity is a kind of mercy, too. I let dust fall from my fist like an amen. Charcoal snaps like knuckles. Bellows trade lungs with flame. The forge tent's roof lifts and settles as if it's breathing. Smiths speak in verbs hold steady pour, because adjectives don't keep fingers attached. I stand close enough to feel the heat, and far enough to keep my courage. Scrap bronze piles in shallow baskets, a city of broken usefulness. Eliezer skims, slag, steady as sunrise. Impurities steal strength, he says. I hear yesterday's jokes about manna hiss off the surface like steam. We are melting down our sarcasm with our buckles. A young smith presents the clay mold lines and vents cut neat as script. His mouth is dryness pretending to be a line. If it fails, he asks. Then it teaches, I say, and the words land in his shoulders like a brace. We dry run the poor lift step, tip-tilt back until feet learn the dance. Shoshana checks the bucket line, palms, raw voice even. Water for people, not metal. Eyes up, hands steady, she says. The forge answers with a gust like agreement. Heat climbs from orange to white at the crucible's lip. The old smith nods. The young moves with him. Bronze becomes a river. It threads the funnel, hums through the narrow throat, vanishes into the shape we argued into being at dawn. A seam darkens. The young flinches. The old man is already there with damp sand, packing the crack quiet. Not fatal, he says, which is what experience sounds like when it chooses kindness. We keep the ribbon pouring until the head is full. Rope lines hum as runners test the guy stakes in the square heralds practice. Don't stare at the wound, lift your eyes. A mother repeats it under her breath until it stops being strange. Habits learn fastest when your mouth borrows them. At the perimeter, a skeptic tries to rescue us from our own obedience. Idols start as ideas, he warns. And signs start as obedience, I answer. This points. He heals. He chews that like tough bread and doesn't spit it out. We break the mold. Steam climbs soft as a psalm. The bronze serpent lies quiet heat traveling its length like a thought. I tap it with my staff. The ring is clean. Burrs file away under practice strokes until the metal keeps only what it need. We sleeve the coil over the acacia crown and test the lift to chest height. The camp leans in a single body, holding breath. The head does not threaten. It invites. Noonlight finds the curve and turns it into a line the eyes can follow home. Ropes sing as the crew heaves. The pole rises by inches, then by faith. Wind elbows in. Eliezer curses under his breath in a priestly way. Hold, I shout, and the word threads through hands and backs. The sleeve drops home with a thunk you can trust. Herald's fan to the lanes. Don't stare at the wound, lift your eyes. The phrase fits breath, not rhetoric. A child repeats it like a game. A mother repeats it like a vow. The bronze head throws a coin of light onto the sand. First stretcher, man bitten high on calf jaw, set to prove something. His wife's grip says something else. I nearly say, look at me. Then remember humility. Look there. He fights habit, then surrenders to the upward pull. Breath unties. The skeptic elbows close bandage already half peeled. Coincidence, he spits eyes nevertheless, creeping upward. I save my theology for someone who asked. His gaze catches the curve of bronze. His shoulders fall a half inch. Small surrenders count. A boy can't stop inspecting his ankle. Little sister lays a palm on his cheek and rotates his face. Up she whispers, fierce as any prophet. His eyes climb. His breath follows. He squeezes her hand like remembering. Wind tugs a guy line. The pole lists a whisper. Eliezer is on it with a new knot and a look that says, do not make me explain physics again. The head steadies. Remedies require maintenance. So do leaders. The lanes jam. We work the drill angle clear call. Shoshana taps forearms to shift people 2 steps right, 3 steps back, sightline, she says, and bodies become helpful geometry. The square learns choreography. A young soldier trembles, pride, welded to his spine. This is weak, he says, voice shaking. So is breathing, I answer gently. Do it anyway. He looks up, not convinced, but obedient. Sometimes obedience finds the conviction later. An old woman clutches her shawl and her shame. Not worthy, she breathes. I sit on the ground so my eyes are level with hers. This isn't a prize, I say. It's air. Take some. She looks. The shawl loosens. Dusk purples the ridge. The bronze keeps a faint memory of sun, a held ember. People drift home, lighter than they arrived. Heralds lower their hands. My shoulders finally notice their own weight. We have something to teach again tomorrow, where to put your eyes. Dawn creases the ridge. Eliezer scratches the watch rota on a slate. Names and hours become a spine for the day. Heralds warm their voices on the call. The bronze holds a small ember where sunlight will strike. We're not waiting for trouble. We're rehearsing trust. Shoshana drafts eyes coaches for every family. Their task is 1 sentence and 1 finger pointing. No arguing, no multitasking, no heroics. A boy tests the job on his sleepy father. Both end up laughing. Simple roles are harder than they look and exactly what we need. We lay pale river stones along sight lines rubbed with ash until they read like breadcrumbs. Children race alleys, calling, I see it from impossible angles. Laughter braids with discipline. The square learns to breathe through its nose again. A young man mocks through practice laps, then startles at his own wobble when he tries to walk, looking up. See, he grins. Dangerous. So is cynicism, I say smiling. Keep walking. He does each lap less performative, the grin folding into focus. A skeptic times bandages against glances, writing results on a scrap of leather. Coincidence, he says, even as his shoulders have learned a new slope. I don't correct the mouth. The back is already telling the truth. He pockets the scrap like a confession he's not ready to pray aloud. We rig thin pennants where sight lines kink bright cloth, snapping in crosswind. Wayfinding spreads like clean water. I think of cities I've never seen arrows over doors, colored lines on floors, mercies that turn panic into movement. A mother stirs stew while teaching her daughter the call on 2 notes. Don't stare at the wound, lift your eyes. The tune sticks. Neighbors hum it without meaning to. Habits like songs travel farther than speeches. At dusk, a man reaches toward the bronze, hungry for proof his hands can hold. I stand beside him until the urge loosens. Let it be a sign, I say. Make your looking the touch. He exhales, as if setting down a stone. Night watch changes. A cry knifes from a side lane. Neighbors pivot and point. The bitten woman's eyes climb the line of a pennant to the head. Silence absorbs the scream. Relief travels outward without ceremony. Later, I sit against the stone base the staff, a familiar weight. The camp has a new sound, breathing in time, with a lifted gaze. I try the sentence on my own fears, and find it works there too. Don't stare at the wound. Lift your eyes. A ribbon flutters onto the boundary post like a shy thank you. I untie it, palm warm from the knot. Gratitude goes higher, I tell the woman, pointing past the bronze to the blank, bright sky. She nods, cheeks wet, as if permission to keep her thanks moving is its own relief. Eliezer chalks 5 lines on a tablet. No incense, no offerings, no touching. Look and live. Thank the giver. He hangs it where sun catches the letters. Rules are not romance, they're rails. Trains don't call rails legalistic when cliffs are near. A craftsman lays out tiny bronze serpents on cords, proud and nervous. Travel protection, he says. I roll one in my palm. It shines like a shortcut. Melt them, I say softly. Make buckles hinges plow tips. He exhales a man, rescued from his own cleverness. Children shout, heal me. Bronze then collapse, then rise, laughing. Shoshana kneels into their noise. New game pointers. Now small hands shoot upward. Look up alleys fill with the gesture. Play is a tutor that outperforms sermons. I bless the lesson and its teacher. A mother unrolls her mat near the rope, eyes red with yesterday's terror. I need to be close, she whispers. I sit old knees complaining. Close to the giver, I say, and we move the mat back 3 paces. Near enough to see, far enough to remember. A man tests a name for the serpent, pleasant, sticky brandable. I laugh not unkindly. Bronze, I say. Just bronze. The word catches. People repeat it amused. Humor scuffs the shine idolatry needs to get traction. We let the joke protect us. A zealot volunteers to polish the head daily. For maximum reflection, he grins. I hand him pennants and a map of sight kinks. Reflect attention, I say. He spends the afternoon placing color where corners steal the view. Zeal converted to service feels like wisdom. The skeptic returns with a ledger of results and a hint of pride. The numbers prove it, he says. Then let the numbers send praise, I answer. Not to bronze, to the giver. He hesitates, then draws an arrow from his tally to the sky, sheepish accurate. Spice smoke drifts toward the rope. A small brazier squats like intention. Eleazar's foot finds its rim. No. The word is quiet steel. The man lifts the coals and carries them to a widow's pot. The smell resumes its proper job dinner, not devotion. I lean against the stone at night, the bronze a silhouette against star-salt sky. It neither demands nor deceives. We do that. I whisper the prayer we keep needing. Keep our eyes traveling, through sign, past fear, to you. The cloud lifts pale against unlit sky. Canvas exhales. Stakes pop from earth like teeth from soft bread. The square empties of yesterday. The bronze gleams once, then waits. Movement is a kind of faith packing, before proof walking, before welcome. Eliezer tests the travel frame. I knot the final wrap. Covered, not displayed, he says. Sign not shrine, I answer. Linen drinks oil, rope takes the load. The pole leaves its cradle with a sound like memory closing a door. Shoshana drills the carry team, even steps switch shoulders on the call. Young backs stiffen, then find a shared rhythm. I pick men who look bored by glory. Boredom is safer than vanity when the object on your shoulder tempts applause. Scouts scratch a map into sand ridges, wadis a tight pass. My staff taps the pinch point. Slow here. Spread the eyes, coaches. Purpose draws a crooked line that's kinder than the straight one pride prefers. We step into second light. Dust curls around ankles. Children turn the call into a chant that fits walking. A man checks a bandage out of habit. His neighbor points upward without words. Reflex rewires itself in the space of a nod. A copper flicker in the track, a shout, a strike. The column ripples but holds. Stretcher drill on the move angle, clear call. The pole drops to a clearing cloth, peels back, eyes rise. Breath returns, like a task completed rather than a miracle performed. 2 men argue for carrying the bronze uncovered for constant safety. I hear the ache behind the theory. Safety isn't a prop, I say. It's practice. They shoulder the bars for a mile and learn the holiness of not being looked at. Joshua keeps pace at my left, cataloging edges as quick. They look sooner now, he says. His voice is relief, pretending to be analysis. I let him pretend. Leadership also needs somewhere to put its joy. We camp under a low ridge. Pennants stake at corners where sightlines kink. The wrapped serpent rests like a sleeping hammer, powerful, because of what it does, not what it is. The camp exhales into chores and stew. Night takes the heat out of the ground. A girl taps the call to a private beat while stirring lentils. I try the sentence on tomorrow and find it fits. Don't stare at the wound. Lift your eyes. The road keeps asking the same lesson. Stars fade, like ash in water. Camp wakes without drama, folded, canvas, stacked jars. A chorus of small voices practicing the call. I run fingers across the linen-wrapped coil. It thrums with yesterday quiet, with today. Tools aren't holy. The hands that obey are. Eliezer ties a simple tag to the wrap plain script, no name. Findable beats, famous, he says. We log its place in a crate with rope and stakes. I nod. Relics grow on unguarded stories. We're guarding the story. Shoshana's ledger opens notes on sightlines, songs, stubborn lanes. We read it like a map you can't fully trust and choose to anyway. Data doesn't save. It serves. She smiles not for pride, but for progress that looks like people. Wind shoves our backs. The column stretches into a long intention. Rumor runs ahead, giants' walls iron. I've watched courage unspool under smaller words. Eyes coaches drift toward knots in the line and begin pointing like lighthouses that learn to walk. A boy stumbles and grins at his scrape points upward, as if to instruct his own pain. His sister copies him with theatrical devotion. I let them teach what our sermons sometimes forget. Habits are learned best when play volunteers. Heat lifts doubt to the skin. A man confesses he keeps revisiting wounds in the quiet, mistaking rumination for wisdom. There's a gaze that heals, and a gaze that hardens, I say. Choose the one that turns you toward life. He nods as if setting down a weight. We pause on a rise. The land unrolls toward silver hints, distant water, maybe. We set a small stone ring, not a shrine, a memory anchor. I speak brief to elders. Keep the sign a sign. Keep praise moving. Point first. Explain later. Short lines travel. A woman asks if the serpent should ride higher so people feel safer. I shake my head. If it rises, let it be because eyes do. Security turned visible becomes addiction. Practice beats spectacle. Dusk shelves the heat. We stow the bronze deep among ordinary gear. The cloud settles with the contented sigh of work finished for a day. Fires answer the stars. The sentence we've lived circles the camp like a soft guard. I sit at the stone ring staff across knees, the night doing what nights do. Cooling, quieting, telling truth, at a volume you can bear. Tomorrow, Magia's east. The question doesn't change with the landscape when fear arrives. Where will you put your eyes? Before you go, take a breath. In one word, how did this story make you feel? Fear, hope, gratitude, or something else? Tell us in the comments and share the moment that hit you hardest, the complaints, the bite, or the look and live. If this opened your eyes to God's mercy, please like, subscribe, and share. Check the pinned comment for today's question. See you next episode.